welcome back. I'm Jill with the Carefree Kitchen, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a cinnamon apple French toast bake. This has all the warm and delicious flavors that you love. It's a total comfort food and something everyone in the family will love. Before we get started, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow me on social media, and I will show you some easy and delicious meals your family will love. Alright, to get started with the apple cinnamon French toast bake, I have just a loaf of French bread, and I want it to be able to fill my 9x13 pan. So most of the time this is going to be enough. You may need to add just a little bit more French bread, but especially with the apples, because the apples add a little bit more volume, this should be enough to fill your casserole dish. So to get started, I'm going to cut this into 1-inch chunks. Maybe even a little bit less so they're easy to bite. Just gonna slice the French bread. Alright, so I have my French bread all cut up, but before I get started, I want to be sure and put non-stick cooking spray in my pan. And now I'm going to add all of my bread to my pan. Alright, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to peel and cut my apples. I'm going to cut the core out and then slice it into little, probably 1/2-inch chunks. You can just use a paring knife for this. Super easy, and I don't know, sometimes I look at recipes and I'm like, I don't want to peel an apple, but it only takes a couple minutes. And if you have any brown spots on your apple, just go ahead and cut those out too. This is a great way to use apples that have been sitting in your fridge for maybe a little bit too long and they're looking kind of sad. They still taste great in this recipe. Okay, so I have my apples all cut, and I cut up about 3 apples, and the recipe calls for about 3 cups, but if you're somewhere between 2.5 and 3 cups, that's gonna work great. And now I'm just gonna sprinkle my apples onto my casserole, my French toast here, and kind of mix that all in. Sprinkle a little bit more on top, break up any chunks that I have. Now, to make the custard filling, I'm going to start with, I have 12 eggs cracked. They're just regular large eggs. And I'll just use a fork to mix them up a little bit. And then to that, I'm going to add 2 cups of milk while mixing. All right, and then I have a teaspoon of vanilla and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Then I'm gonna add just a pinch of nutmeg and a pinch of cloves. And that will give this apple cinnamon a lot of amazing flavor. And then I just mix this up until it's all mixed up. If you have a few chunks of cinnamon, it's fine. You could put this in the blender too, and that would mix it up really well. Okay, now I'm going to get my apples and French toast here, and then pour that on top. And then mix it up a little bit. Give it a chance to soak in. Okay, now I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge until tomorrow. And after the French bread has soaked up all of the egg mixture, it'll be ready to cook. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make a strudel topping for this cinnamon apple French toast bake. The first thing you're going to do is take some butter, and room temperature is best. I only need 6 tablespoons, so I'm going to cut off a couple tablespoons of that. And then I like to just cut it up into smaller chunks. And again. And then throw it in a bowl. And you can make this French toast bake with or without the strudel topping, but the strudel topping is so yummy. So now I'm gonna add about a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, about a 1/2 cup of flour, and then about a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Just regular ground cinnamon is great. And then I'll use a fork and just kind of mash it up. And you want it to look pretty crumbly right now. And then as it melts on top of the French toast bake, it'll give it a nice crispy topping too. Okay, this is what the strudel topping looks like. And it's still pretty crumbly, but all the big chunks of butter are out. And you can use your fingers for this process as well to really get it all mixed together. Okay, and if you're wondering if you can bake this without letting it sit overnight, you sure can. There's a few things you can do to help speed up the process for letting the egg mixture soak up into the French toast. Do that before you cut up the apples. That way it'll give it a few more minutes. And then also, before you put the strudel topping on, go ahead and flip it over again. Kind of stir it up lightly a little bit so that all of the bread has a chance to soak up some of that egg mixture. So this has been sitting for probably about an hour while I cut up the apples and I made the strudel topping. So now I'm going to add my strudel topping, and I'm just going to put a nice thick coat here, and then I'm going to put it into the oven on 350 for 45 to about 50 minutes, or until the top is lightly crusty and golden brown. Okay, our apple cinnamon French toast bake is done. Check it out, it looks so good. It's nice and golden here on the sides. It looks perfect. All right, here's my apple cinnamon French toast bake. I mean, look at that crusty topping. The strudel topping just gets all nice and crisp and warm and delicious. And oh my goodness, your family's gonna love this. And especially if you love carameled apples, be sure to check out the other link in the description. I'm gonna put my buttermilk syrup recipe in there. And this is basically a carameled apple French toast bake if you add this buttermilk syrup. It is like caramely and rich, and the perfect pairing for this amazing French toast bake. All right guys, thanks so much for watching The Carefree Kitchen. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on social media, and I will take you along as I show you all kinds of fun and easy and delicious meals your family's gonna love. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye! This classic French toast bake recipe is an overnight French toast bake. It has simple ingredients and is perfect for whenever you have family in town.